What if I told you that 2 decades of unbearable darkness could vanish in just one moment? That 20 years of wrestling with depression, of feeling trapped in an endless tunnel with no light, could be transformed by a single prayer? Today, I'm sharing a story that challenges everything we think we know about healing, about faith, and about the power that exists beyond our understanding. This isn't just another motivational speech. This is the raw, unfiltered journey of someone who lived through 20 years of clinical depression and discovered something that changed everything. If you've ever felt hopeless, if you've ever wondered whether there is truly a way out of the mental fog that seems to consume everything, this story will shake you to your core. The weight of 2 decades, imagine waking up every single day for 20 years feeling like you're drowning in invisible water. That's what depression felt like for Sarah Matthews, a woman whose story I encountered during my research on extraordinary recoveries. For 2 decades, she tried everything the medical world had to offer. Antidepressants, therapy sessions, cognitive behavioral therapy, electroconvulsive treatment, meditation retreats, exercise programs. You name it, she tried it. The statistics are staggering. According to the World Health Organization, over 280 million people worldwide suffer from depression. Traditional treatment success rates hover around 60 to 70%, leaving millions still searching for answers. But what happens when traditional methods fail? What happens when you've exhausted every option science has to offer? Sarah's days blended into one continuous gray existence. She described it as living behind a thick glass wall, watching life happen around her, but never truly participating. Simple tasks felt like climbing mountains. The joy had been slowly drained from everything she once loved. Music sounded flat. Food had no taste. Relationships felt like burdens she couldn't bear to carry. The science behind spiritual intervention. Here's where the story takes an unexpected turn, and where science meets something much larger than itself. Recent studies from Harvard Medical School and Johns Hopkins University have documented cases where spiritual experiences created measurable, lasting changes in brain chemistry. We're not talking about placebo effects or temporary mood boosts. We're talking about fundamental neurological transformations. Dr. Andrew New, a neuroscientist at Thomas Jefferson University, has spent decades studying what he calls neurotheology, the intersection of brain science and spiritual experience. His research shows that profound spiritual encounters can literally rewire neural pathways, creating new connections that support mental health and emotional stability. But Sarah didn't know any of this research when she reached her breaking point. All she knew was that she had tried everything else, and nothing had worked. She was standing at the edge of complete despair, contemplating whether life was worth continuing. The prayer that changed everything on a cold Tuesday morning in March, after another sleepless night filled with the familiar weight of hopelessness, Sarah made a decision. She had been raised in a Christian household, but had drifted from faith during her college years. Depression had convinced her that if God existed, He had certainly forgotten about her. But desperation has a way of stripping away pride and skepticism. She knelt beside her bed, something she hadn't done in over 15 years, and spoke words that came from the deepest part of her soul. God, I can't do this anymore. I've tried everything. If you're real, if you care, please take this from me. I'm giving up my control. I'm giving up my need to understand. I'm just ... What happened next defies easy explanation. Sarah describes it as feeling like someone literally lifted a massive weight from her chest. The fog that had clouded her mind for 20 years began to clear. For the first time in 2 decades, she felt ... hope. Not just the absence of despair, but actual, tangible hope. The neuroscience of surrender, modern brain imaging technology, has revealed something fascinating about the act of surrender. When we genuinely let go of our need to control outcomes, specific regions of the brain associated with stress and anxiety show decreased activity, while areas linked to peace and well-being become more active. The default mode network, a brain network associated with rumination and negative thought patterns, shows remarkable changes during profound spiritual experiences. It's as if the brain literally shifts into a different operating mode, one that promotes healing rather than perpetuating suffering. Sarah's experience aligns with thousands of similar cases documented by researchers worldwide. The common thread isn't the specific religion or belief system, but rather the complete surrender of control and the opening to something greater than oneself, beyond medical explanation now. Let's be clear about something important. This story isn't meant to dismiss the value of medical treatment or suggest that prayer alone is the answer for everyone struggling with depression. Mental health is complex, and what worked for Sarah might not work for others in exactly the same way. However, what we can't ignore is the growing body of evidence suggesting that spiritual intervention, when combined with proper medical care, can produce results that neither approach achieves alone. The integration of faith and science is beyond about choosing sides. It is about embracing every tool available for healing. Sarah's doctors were baffled by her sudden improvement. Her blood work showed changes in neurotransmitter levels that typically take months of medication to achieve. Her brain scans revealed increased activity in regions associated with emotional regulation and decreased activity in areas linked to depression. The ripple effect of transformation, the change in Sarah's life, didn't stop with her mental health. Relationships that had been strained for years began to heal. Her career, which had stagnated due to her inability to focus and engage, suddenly she began volunteering with organizations that support others struggling with mental health issues. But perhaps most importantly, Sarah developed what she calls grateful resilience, the ability to face life's challenges not from a place of fear and desperation, but from a foundation of gratitude and trust. When difficult situations arise, she no longer spirals into the old patterns of hopelessness. This transformation illustrates something profound about human resilience. When we address suffering at its deepest level, not just the symptoms, but the spiritual and emotional roots, healing can occur in ways that surprise even medical professionals. The power of community and witness. Sarah's story might have remained private, but she felt compelled to share it. She began speaking at churches, support groups, and medical conferences. What she discovered was that her experience resonated with thousands of others who had similar stories but were afraid to share them. The scientific community is beginning to take these testimonies seriously. The American Psychological Association now recognizes spiritual and religious factors as important components of mental health treatment. Medical schools are incorporating courses on spirituality and health into their curricula. This shift represents a return to understanding humans as whole beings, not just biological machines, but complex creatures with physical, emotional, and spiritual dimensions that all contribute to overall well-being. Practical steps for your own journey if you're struggling with depression or know someone who is. Sarah's story offers several important insights. First, never give up seeking help through traditional medical channels. Therapy, medication, and professional support remain crucial tools in the fight against depression. However, don't overlook the spiritual dimension of healing. This doesn't require you to adopt any specific religious belief. It's about opening yourself to possibilities beyond what you can see and control. It's about surrendering the burden of trying to fix everything through willpower alone. Prayer, meditation, connection with nature, acts of service to others. These practices have been shown to support mental health in measurable ways. They're not magic bullets, but they're powerful complements to medical treatment. Conclusion, hope beyond understanding. Sarah's journey from 20 years of depression to complete healing through a single prayer challenges our understanding of what is possible. It doesn't diminish the real struggle of mental illness or oversimplify the path to recovery. Instead, it expands our vision of the tools available for healing. Whether you're a person of faith or a skeptic, whether you're struggling with depression yourself or supporting someone who is, this story offers something invaluable: hope. Hope that healing is possible even when it seems impossible. Hope that we're more than the sum of our struggles. Hope that there are forces of healing and restoration working in ways we may never fully understand. The intersection of faith and mental health is about choosing between science and spirituality. It is about embracing the full spectrum of healing possibilities. Sarah's story reminds us that sometimes the most profound transformations happen not through our efforts to fix ourselves, but through a willingness to surrender and receive help from sources beyond our comprehension. If this story has touched your heart, I'd love to hear about your own experiences with faith and healing in the comments below. Have you witnessed or experienced transformation that defied easy explanation? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Don't forget to subscribe for more content that explores the incredible intersection of faith, science, and human resilience. And please, share this video with someone who might need to hear that healing is possible even after decades of struggle.